Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about habits, and I'm going to be sharing my 2-minute trick to help us really imprint into our lives simply new sustainable habits. Okay, specifically, we're going to be talking around food and nutrition because I think many of us have felt that, especially in this last year, we have fallen into maybe some habits that are not serving us, like mindless eating, late night snacking, emotional eating, stress binging, eating and snacking throughout the day, and or maybe you're even really showing some deprivation and telling yourself I shouldn't over again, and really trying to muscle and willpower your way through your nutrition. So we're going to be talking about how we can shift those behaviors that aren't serving us into just better, more sustainable habits, okay, for us, simply, okay? Because I know we've all been there, right? That you have the motivation to say, you know what? I am not going to have sugar this week. I am not going to have the cookies. I am not going to have the sweets after dinner. Or you're saying, nope, I'm going to keep super, super disciplined. I am not going to have, the pizza and wine later in the day with my friends. We all have the best intention, right? We want consistency. We want to do it. But there's something up here that makes it so hard long term. Okay, we're driven go-getters. A lot of us can do it and muscle through it for a few weeks, and then it just kind of starts to fizzle out, right? So if we haven't met, my name is Monica Tupholme. I'm a function nutrition and fitness specialist. I work specifically with busy athletic women over 40 to show them how they can up-level nutrition and fitness and reconnect with their old athletic self, which is a lot of up here, in a really sustainable way, okay? And lose all that energy zapping fluff that we feel that might be holding us back. And when over and over and over again, when I've been hundreds of clients that I've worked with and myself, because I was on the journey too, 40 is 100% different. And there was one missing piece of the puzzle, okay? And that was just being able to stick with it. And I think that's where I am stand apart a little bit from the other, maybe the diet culture and maybe a lot of other nutritionists out there, because it's more than just meal plans and workouts. If it was that easy, we'd all be walking around like J-Lo. I'm just saying. But the piece of the puzzle that's missing is sticking with it and making it long term. I always say to my clients, I'm like, I don't want you to be a forever client. The diet industry is something different, but I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole. Okay. But listen, I've tried them all too, right? Because again, like I said, I went through, even with 25 years experience in health and wellness, former professional athlete, I hit 40. It was a major shift. And I wanted something that was consistent, that wasn't going to take so much work. Okay. So that's where we have to switch the focus, and we're shifting it from that it's not about finding the right meal plan or exercising a specific way. It's really first and foremost about working with this operating system between your ears, so that you can stay on track, okay? And that we can simply, oh, my hair's in my face, simply put it into your life. That's big. That's big. We can't put a round peg into a square hole, right? I love that analogy. So when people find out what I do for a living, automatically they say to me, okay, Moni, oh my goodness, like how do I put all the pieces together to create new habits? I need a piece of paper. Sorry, so when people find out what I do for a living, they automatically say, Moni, oh my gosh, put the pieces together for me. How does it all work? You know, how should I be eating? What should I be eating? When should I be eating? How should I be working out? For how long? When? What kind of exercises? And what healthy habits can I create? And how can I rid the old ones that really either take up so much time and energy, or give me this feeling of not having control over my situation. So I approach this in a different way, like I've said before, when it's not just about nutrition and fitness, and I approach it by really working with how your brain is already wired. Because where, unfortunately, the diet culture and the blanket solutions get it wrong is that they make us put ourselves into this box where you do really have to um, follow that rigid system, right? That meal plan, that workout style, check it off every day, right? And there's a lot of shame in that. There's a lot of deprivation around that. There's a lot of obsessing about it, even a little bit for many women. And that really goes against everything that our brain does for us. Because your brain's two primary focuses is to keep you alive and to keep you safe, which means comfort as well. Okay. And I know you felt it too a ton, that tug of war, okay, between what I should and shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be late night snacking, watching Netflix, eating Doritos, but meanwhile, you've bought the book, you've downloaded the meal plan, you've gone to the grocery store, you're ready to do it. But then that little voice comes in at 8 p.m. It says, it's time for Grey's Anatomy and it's time to chill out. And you see yourself falling back into those old patterns, right? So we need to really capitalize on what is already working and what you already have and how your brain is wired, because this is going to run the show. It runs the show for your metabolism. It runs the show to tell your body how quickly to burn fat and to use energy. It runs the show for everything. Okay. So for example, let's dive into the 2 minute trick. Okay. And it literally is 2 minutes. It's when I talk about this further and give the example, you're going to be like, this is very elementary and it sounds too easy, but please remember this and write this down if you're taking notes. It's super important to lay foundation work first, or else, again, you're just muscling through something. Okay. And we're go-getters, we're doers, we want it quick. I get it. I'm there too. I'm competitive. I want to get the results and let's get going on this. But more than ever with our over 40 body, it wants simple and it wants strategic. It doesn't mean slow. Okay, so we have to keep it really simple to stop. So let's give the example. So let's say that you have a goal of like, you really want to limit your sugar. Like you've been going overboard on the sugar lately. There's been way too much around. You ate the whole box of maybe shortbread cookies that your friend dropped off as a Christmas gift. It's just too much around you, and you want to get control of your sugar tooth. So when you say something like that, like, okay, I'm just not going to eat as much sugar, or I'm going to meditate every day because I read that I need to center myself and it's good for me and it helps with stress and all these amazing benefits. Okay. That goal is so enormous. Sugar or meditate, take whatever example. It's so enormous. And then right away, we have this sort of like motivation and gust to do it. But then things start creeping in. For example, for the sugar one, you're like, oh, but so-and-so's birthday coming up. Can I have a birthday cake? Am I never going to be able to have treats again? Or what about so-and-so's, when we got to go to other parties, right? So-and-so's house and we're getting together. And then you start thinking about the negative and then thinking about how this really isn't going to work in your life and how hard it's going to be. Okay? The meditation, right? Like, when am I going to do it? How am I going to find quiet? How should I start? Which one should I do? How long should I do it? Like, all these things start coming up. Then when things become hard, again, we can muscle through for a little while, but ultimately the wheels fall off. Okay. So number one, when we speak to big habits, like breaking the sugar habit or starting to meditate, which is a good habit, right? Or stop telling yourself I shouldn't all the time. When we have a big overriding habit like that, we need to break it down into small chunks. Bite size, elementary baby chunks. Okay. So how you're going to do that is that you're going to think about what would you do in the first 2 minutes of starting the healthy version of that habit. Okay. So for example, if it's sugar or late night snacking, for example, let's do late night snacking. Okay. Late night snacking. Then when that, I'm going to get some Doritos and watch some Grey's Anatomy, that starts coming up in 2 minutes. What's the first step that you would do to help break the habit, instill a new habit? Maybe it's getting up off the couch, walking to the kitchen, and picking up a piece of fruit. Okay. Maybe for the sugar habit, it is about getting up and you moved where the stash is. Everyone has the stash, right? The treat stash. And then you pause and you just pick up a piece of fruit instead. And you just pick it up. And that's it. And then maybe you'll go back to eating the ice cream or having the cookies or whatever it may be. Okay. But this 2 minutes is laying the foundation. Okay. And you're like, how is that creating a new habit, Moni? Because I'm just going back and doing maybe the unhealthy habit anyways. You're not. You're laying brick upon brick. So then the following week, you're going to add the 2 minutes. So you're going to get up off the couch, you're going to pick up the piece of fruit, and maybe you're actually going to bite it. Okay? And you just keep stacking that way. Again, over and over, you're going to be like, this is way too easy. This is way too simple. It's not really breaking the habit. I'm kind of still doing the habit, but you are. Okay? Because the truth is that we are what we repeatedly do. So when we start stacking new habits that we want to instill, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, that good repetition starts outweighing the bad, okay? And starts replacing the behaviors that are not serving us. Okay, let's take meal planning, for example. We have this, I'm going to start meal planning because I know that it has, everyone says it's got great outcomes. It makes you stay on track easier. I'm thinking about my future self. You keep things organized. So you have this gesture. You're like, I'm going to spend Sunday and I'm going to meal plan for the week. And I'm going to get all the contents and the groceries and all the things, right? Overwhelming. Time. Okay. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't have 4 hours to spend on the kitchen on Sunday because my kids got sports and I'm going here and I'm going there, or whatever your Sundays may look like. Okay. So instead, what would we do in the first 2 minutes of meal planning? Okay. This is what we teach in the 3M. In the first 2 minutes, you literally just pull out your calendar and you're looking at your calendar, and it's just picking one day and planning, saying, oh, we're actually home Wednesday night. Jordan doesn't have hockey that night. We're not in a rush. I'm going to make that stir fry that I saw in the 3M meal ideas, and I'm going to put that in there. 2 minutes done. Okay. And the next week, maybe you're going to do, the first 3 days of the week, or pick 3 different days to plan the meals. And then the next, maybe it's thinking about your breakfast. Okay. So see how he slowly stacks. So it doesn't just seem like this overwhelming thing of, oh my gosh, I got to plan the meals for 7 days and chop and cut and package and do everything. Okay. It doesn't work that way. Plus, we find out really quickly what works and doesn't work in our life, which is key because your life is different from mine and it's different from your neighbors. Okay. So that is the big one. It's just, we need to establish those habits before they'll grow. And so we need to start small, right? And they grow up. So here's the action I want you guys to do. Okay. As we start winding everything up here and heading into the new year, I want you to pick one habit that you want to shift. One thing hasn't been serving you. Okay. That you feel maybe guilty about, that that it may be keeping you stuck from really moving forward. And that you just love to change. Okay. And I want you to, and you want to do it more consistently and the better for the new year. Okay, maybe it's a healthy habit. Okay, you want to get out and walk more. The idea of walking every day, you're like, oh my gosh, how much time? When am I going to do it? I don't have time, right? Start with a small chunk of that. Maybe it's looking at your calendar, picking a day. Maybe it's just putting your shoes on 2 minutes, right? And putting your coat on and seeing how that feels. Okay, you pick. But I want you to think of one thing that you would like to change, okay, to that's not serving you, and that you want to do more consistently in the better, and something that is serving you in the new year. And let's start there. Okay, any questions, let me know.